When you look back a year from today, what would you love to be different in your life? There are so many people giving so much different types of advice on how to change. You've heard many things already. And in this episode, we're going to give you some secrets that you probably don't know about that can be make or break between you actually making those changes that you want to make and falling back into old habits. These are some fascinating things that give new perspectives to what is actually possible and going deeper into the underlying issues that either create complete transformation in our being and how we feel or lead us into staying the same. So if you're excited to really experience a different life for yourself, let's jump into this. Much love and blessings. Thank you, Shireen, for being here, for your lovely presence.
Thank you, Michael. Always a pleasure.
Here we are once again, and let's start with a simultaneous breath. So just take a moment now to breathe in and let it out, gently relaxing your whole being. And again. And letting it go. And this time as you breathe in, just remember that you are a beautiful, shining spiritual being. That we are guests here on this magical planet for a short time. And today we're talking about how to make this the best, most wonderful, magical, spiritually inspiring year of your life. Isn't that wonderful? So, yes, so we have a lot of wonderful tips and tools that are going to help you become the highest version of yourself in this coming year. And the first thing, Shireen, what was the first thing that I remember thinking this was a bit of an odd thing. In order to live our life, what do we have to do first?
We have to pretend our death.
And what?
Not exactly pretend. Not exactly pretend. I don't want you to wipe your social media accounts and go into hiding or anything like that.
Dig a grave in the back garden.
Right? No. What I meant was that we kind of visualize our death. Mm. And I used to do this really fun thing. Used to, even till last year I did it with my friends here, is we used to all sit down and someone used to do a commentary, meditation commentary, and we used to all visualize ourselves dying. So you first just see yourself leaving the body, see yourself saying goodbye to everything, seeing yourself to all the possessions, then to all the relationships, and then everything that comes with the relationships, everything you're saying goodbye. And you're saying goodbye to the body and you're leaving the body. And it's a joyous occasion, right? Don't think of it as too weird or anything. It's really a joyous occasion because you're alive. So there's nothing going on there that you would need to worry about. And so just do that, and you realize so many things in that little exercise where you are visualizing your death. So many things you realize. You realize all of the attachments you have. You realize which relationships are important and which are not. And you realize also, another thing I noticed, that you realize which relationships are not serving you. Mm. And also you realize the importance of your life. You really have gratitude for life afterwards. And you realize how important your life is and how important it is to really take every moment to upgrade your life. And the new year is the perfect time to upgrade your life because there is a collective energy, right? We have a collective energy going. I was thinking that recently, about 2 billion souls on the planet celebrate Christmas. About 1 billion souls on the planet celebrate Diwali, right? Guess how many souls celebrate New Year's?
Pretty much everyone.
6 or 7 billion souls. There are a few people who don't go by the Christian calendar, but 6 or 7 billion souls celebrate New Year. And so the collective energy of everyone, the collective newness and the collective enthusiasm of everyone really helps us, right? Like it acts like a springboard for us to keep going forward.
It really has a different vibe. I always find at the beginning of the year or the end of the old year, there's like this powerful energy to do something different. And I find it's interesting that we have the potential to unlock a new part of us, a new opportunity, a new way of doing things. And obviously that was inside of us anyway, but somehow in the new year it kind of opens up this big window where things are possible that really they were possible anyway, but for some reason we were denying ourselves that opportunity until that window opens. But it kind of like gives a boost. It's like a doubling of the power or something happens during the new year. So
yes, absolutely.
Why not take advantage of it?
It's actually 7 billioning the power.
That's right. That's
because
what it is.
Because 7 billion souls are just thinking of newness. They're thinking of new things.
That goes to show, doesn't it, the power of the mind? Because you've got all these people imagining something new and different. And there's a wave, and I suppose that's the same thing with people think fearful thoughts, then everyone gets really afraid. Or if people feel inspired, then the energy goes up. So to take full advantage of that magical moment.
I was, growing up, I was never really into New Year's. But then suddenly after I started doing my spiritual practice, it just felt very important because in our lessons, we hear the importance of newness and the importance of the new year. And then when I started listening to those, then I thought, why am I not tapping into this amazing opportunity? I need to tap into this amazing opportunity. And it really made a difference, right? It really made a difference.
I love it. I actually think January the 1st might be my favorite day of the year, because it has that sparkling energy about it. If we're willing to take advantage of it. I remember that I had a spiritual awakening when I was 18, and I gave myself, that was just before the new year, and I said, okay, I'm going to have one more New Year's Eve, and then I'm going to give everything up, right? And I remember I went out, and I went to some party late at night, and everyone was, I vividly remember this, people counting in the new year, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then the champagne bottles all popped and everyone was celebrated. And then, I remember this vividly, and then about a minute later, or 2 or 3 minutes later, there was this major down, actually, because no one had figured out a plan for the new year. Do you know what I mean? There wasn't wasn't a way of actually doing something with it. It was just like, yay, it's the new year. And now it isn't anymore. It was like that. It was like a up and then a down. Whereas what we're talking about is actually using the energy, riding the energy, coming up with a plan, coming up with things that you can practically do, and then sustaining that going forward into the rest of the year. So what do we need to do, Shireen, in order to actually make this happen in a genuine way, and not just have it being like, yay, January 1st, and then, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
The first one is definitely to have a vision, right? Because you were saying that the reason why people felt that downer energy was because they didn't have a vision, they didn't have a plan. So the first thing is you need to have a new vision for yourself. And this new vision, having a vision for yourself is not only important, but also there are elements to the vision. You need to have a vision that is not dictated by other people. It has to be independent. It can't be, the new vision cannot be a reaction to people, right? The new vision should be a spiritual vision for yourself. It can't be, oh, I don't want someone in my life, or I want someone in my life, or it shouldn't be, I don't want to do something. It should be something you really want to do spiritually. For example, let's say you want to be kinder. So you have to have this vision of yourself, see yourself, what would kindness look like? think of small or little acts of kindness that would make a difference in your life. It's not kindness, like even though we are sharing it with someone else, it's actually for ourselves. And so how would it look like? How would my smile look like if I'm looking at people? How would my mind look like? What would I be thinking? All of those things. So that vision, there should be details of the vision without including people. It shouldn't be not something. It should be some generative thing you're going towards.
That's right. An inspiring vision that comes from your heart, that is a meaningful heart and soul. A lot of, because I've spent many years helping people with their life in different ways with my work, separate from my spiritual work. And we've all often told people to create vision boards, right? And what I have found is that a lot of people create a vision board, right? And I've seen a lot of these vision boards because people photograph them and send them to me. And what I noticed after a while is that a lot of people have gone through magazines, right? And they've ripped things out and they've stuck it on a vision board. And then you look at all these different vision boards and you realize that they're all pretty much the same thing, right? And because where is it coming from? The source material for the vision is coming from outside, isn't it?
Yes.
Right? So it's just like we absorb all these things, we see all this stuff on social media or on in magazines or whatever it is. So everyone's ending up with something that looks pretty much the same thing, and none of it came from within, right? It's just really funny.
Right.
So we have to think,
even if you cannot draw, then maybe we should just encourage people to do stick figures.
Stick figures or pictures
stick figures. Everyone can draw stick figures.
Yeah.
And so maybe we should just encourage people to do stick figures and do a vision board, because it is not about that the picture looks pretty, but it's what is inside you.
Right.
For yourself. This is your attitude and vision for yourself, because vision is not just what you're seeing. This is like a spiritual vision where you're really seeing yourself differently. The attitude with which you're seeing yourself, the vision with which you're seeing yourself, the love and the feelings, it includes all of those.
That's right. It's an internal thing. So when you close your eyes, everyone can visualize. Some people think they can't, but really everyone can visualize, or at least feel it. So we close our eyes and we imagine, what am I seeing? What am I feeling? And we're seeing ourselves in an upgraded way. In what way have I changed? And you can imagine yourself walking through life, being different, feeling different, speaking differently, having a different presence. And all of those things, the more vivid that image and that movie, it's like watching a movie inside of us.
Right.
Seeing it clearly, feeling it. And so if you want to draw a picture of it, that's fine. But really the most important thing is to take time to go within, close your eyes, and experience that as if it's actually happening here. One of the teachings that we have is to see the vision of yourself in the future like it's a hanger, like clothes hanging on a hanger in front of you. That's so close, it's like it's right here. And that's like the ultimate visioning practice, is it's really here. So it's not some future thing, some vague fuzzy thing. It's real and it's right there and you can feel it. That is the ultimate vision.
Another important thing about vision is this is a spiritual vision, right? And in the spiritual vision, at the risk of being made some weird statements from Michael, I have to say this. In a spiritual vision, you have to envision yourself alone. Even though you're part of a loving couple and a loving family, wonderful. I'm not saying anything about that. All I'm saying is, in a spiritual vision, see yourself. Because many times when we see ourselves as a couple, or when we see ourselves as part of a family, we're not really seeing ourselves. Like in the Avatar movie, see, you're like you're seeing yourself. And so you really need to see yourself, and you need to see a higher vision of yourself. First do that, right? First see yourself and see a higher vision for yourself. Then you can include your partner or your family, or you can include all of that. But first there has to be an individual vision.
Right, yeah. So you're not having a vision of the external things in your life first and foremost. It's more how do you feel, how do you deal with life? How do you live? How do you perceive everything? How do you smile? What is your feeling state? More than, oh, look at my new Lamborghini that I have and look how nice all my people are in my life. That's
right. Another thing, right? Vision shouldn't be, oh, I want a new relationship. Or I want, because that's not spiritual. I'm not saying you shouldn't want a relationship. All I'm saying is it should be a spiritual vision. Because this is about...
It's what we become. The thing I find helpful is that all the things we do, ultimately the benefit of all those things is what we become at the end of it, you know. So even if there are things you want to achieve in your life, by doing that, what have you become?
All right. And so after you really see yourself, right? This seeing yourself is so important because many times we tend to not see ourselves. And because we are not seeing ourselves, the soul needs to see itself, right? It's a need. It's not something nice to have. And because we are not seeing ourselves, then we look for external validation. But when you start, external validation in itself is not bad, but when you go from a place of desperation looking for external validation, then you tend to make a lot of mistakes. And so, and many people have made very foolish mistakes because they want some external validation, right? So you really need to see yourself, because that is a need of the soul, to really see the self. It doesn't matter how much someone else is seeing you. If you are not seeing yourself, then the need is not fulfilled, like the thirst is not fulfilled. And so just see yourself, and then after seeing yourself, from that place of seeing yourself properly, then you come into relationships.
That's beautiful. And in order to do this, one of the most important things is to get a journal of some sort where you write down what this future self actually feels like, looks like, sounds like. To write it down again and again and again. I find this really, really powerful, just to get a journal and every day, every morning, write down, this is my vision for myself. Because we forget otherwise. I mean, otherwise people, I know what it is on the new year, and I know what it is on the 2nd of January, 3rd of January, and then everyone forgets. So if you rewrite it, just get a pen and paper. I have a journal called the Miracle Journal, which we can put a link to, which is basically a very refined way of doing this that brings everything together so that you really remember these things very deeply and connect it to your life. But the vision isn't something we just do once a year and then forget about it. It's something we can remember again and again and again and again, so that it's right there close to our heart. The Miracle Journal, funnily enough, it took me 2 years to create. 2 years. Even though it's only actually 4 pages long, again and again, like every day you do these 4 pages. But it took me 4 years to refine it down to those 4 things. And it's extremely powerful. So if you want to manifest a higher version of yourself, check it out. And it also has some audios that go with it to explain how it works. We haven't got time to go into that right now, but... definitely worth checking it out. Many people have found it very powerful, including myself. So vision is one of the most important things. Dying is very, very important. Let's just return to that briefly, shall we? So you recommend someone actually like lies down and imagines that's the end of their life before the new year?
Yes. And it can be fun, right? We just have, like, few of my friends get together, we just think it's a fun thing and just do it. And, one person does the commentary and then everyone does it, and then we are done. And it's a really fun thing, and it's a fun thing, and you learn so much about yourself. So much about yourself. Like, there's very subtle things you learn about yourself. And I feel to really live properly, you need to die properly.
Yeah.
You need to see yourself dying, right? Because people think it's never ending. People think life is never ending, this body is never ending, relationships are never ending. No, everything has a lifespan. Everything has a lifespan. And when you see yourself dying, then you really understand the importance of just seizing this moment and not thinking everything is just going to go on forever.
It's such a relief, yeah. You think, okay, I'll let it go beyond, then come back. This is why we have a Spiritual Travelers website. And that concept of spiritual traveler is kind of like you die and you go into the light and then you come back. And it's fun to return, from being away, like going on vacation.
Like you almost return like an avatar.
Yeah, you become an avatar. You come back and you go, all right, here we are. And otherwise, we're stuck in this thing going, oh, God, I've got all these things I have to do. Oh, my long list of to-dos. Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. But when we leave, we have relief. And then we come back and it's all fresh. And I mean, I've had many clients from my work who have had cancer and things like that and overcome it. And they said that diagnosis that you've got 6 months to live or whatever they're told by the doctor completely changed their life, because they said, what am I doing with my life? And they thought, what do I want to do? And the whole thing changed. So this is a very powerful practice. Do you have a meditation on this, Shireen? Dying?
No, I don't have a meditation. I mean, I did a whole bunch of meditations on it, but I don't have a recorded meditation on it.
We're going to have to create one at some point. And if we have one by the time this is published, we'll post it. And if not, stay tuned.
It's very simple, right?
Yeah. All right.
Just lay down and see yourself as light, the animating force of the body. And then just see yourself leaving the body. And you first saying goodbye, looking around and saying goodbye to all your possessions, your favorite possessions. Then you visualize all your relationships and saying goodbye to them. So that's the second step. And then you see the body and you say goodbye to the body and you go off into the light. And you stay there as much as you can. And then when you come back down, that is when you feel the magic.
And welcome back.
So it's quite simple. It's very simple.
Yeah.
Don't make it too out there, right? Just make it very grounded and very simple. It's supposed to be a grounded practice. It's not supposed to be a practice for leaving the body or having out-of-body experiences or any of that stuff. It's just a very grounded practice to see very practically what's happening in our lives and to have some deep realization about our life.
Well, let's practice and enjoy. I mean, I think the more the merrier, really. We can do this every day, not just at the end of the year, because it's a massive relief, isn't it, to go beyond and come back. Practicing being dead and seeing what life is all about, having a very clear vision of what you want to become, who you want to be, what you want to express, and reminding yourself of it again and again and again. What's the next thing to have a magical year?
One of the things that should include in your vision is that you would improve your meditation, or you would include a meditative practice in your life. And it's not only that you would include a meditative practice in your life, but it's not like, I'll start New Year's Day. No, that meditative practice, whatever that is you're going to be doing, will have to start now. That there has to be a micro meditation right now. Whatever we decide to do, that there has to be something done right this moment. I always feel change only happens in the moment. Transformation doesn't happen 5 years from now. Transformation doesn't happen if I think, I'll do it 2 years from now or 2 days from now or evening meditation or next morning meditation. None of that stuff, right? Transformation only happens right now. And so I have to learn to seize the moment and first include a meditation practice and then do a micro meditation right now. I love the way you started with the simultaneous breath. And so we can do the simultaneous breath. We can do one right now. And also we could include being a spiritual being in that.
Great, let's do it.
Take a deep breath in. and a deep breath out. Again, a deep breath in, hold that breath, and a deep breath out. And while you are breathing in and out, remember that you are a pure, peaceful soul. Again, breathe in with me. Hold that breath. Breathe out and come into the awareness of being a pure, peaceful soul. So if you already have a meditation practice, then my suggestion is that you increase it. You can always have more meditation, really. But another suggestion is not only that you can have more meditation, but that you would bring whatever practice you're doing, your meditation practice, into daily life. While you are doing other things, you're meditating. And that's what we teach in Raj Yoga, in Brahmakumari's Raj Yoga, is how can I meditate while doing other things? While doing karma, how can I meditate? And so that's very important, because any meditation practice, for it to become powerful, right? Even though you need to spend time, you need to sit in the morning, you need to sit in the evening, you need to do all of those things, you also need to learn to bring it into your daily life.
So meditation in daily life. Because what's the point of meditation? It's not just to feel good temporarily. It's to change our consciousness, isn't it? It's to experience an altered state, a higher state of being, while we are getting on with various things that we do. Right. So I like this idea of micro meditation, because it seems that what typically happens when we think about doing things that are good for us, especially meditation, is we think, I haven't really got time for that because I'm busy, right? But and then we think, I haven't got some people's meditation, is like the candle has to be just right, the incense has to be just right, the pillow, hang on a minute, my pillow's not, and haven't got. So if our meditation requires all these different music and all these things, then we can't do it unless everything's set up, or if we're outside, we can't do it. But a micro meditation is something that we can do very quickly, that can be done now and doesn't require us having all these different props.
Yes. Because, I always am very surprised by our capacity in the US to make a commodity out of everything. When I was growing up in
That's
India...
That's funny, isn't it? Yeah, America turns everything into a product. It becomes...
Into a product, right? So when I was growing up in India, we went to yoga, the yogasanas.
Right.
We went to do yoga. Under extreme duress I went, because my mom forced me to go. But we all went as a family to do yoga. Early teens, mid-teens, like that. Anyway, so for a few years we went, and it was at that time, yoga in the West was not a thing. Mm-hmm. And no one was. Now it's like, you have to have the right pants, and it has to be $200 yoga pants. And I'm thinking, what?
Yoga pants? Where did they come from? Like in India, they definitely didn't come from India. Yoga pants, not at
definitely all. Didn't. The $200 yoga pants didn't come from India. Their mat has to be right, and the body has to be right. And recently, someone came to the center, and they were saying that they don't want to go to yoga anymore because everyone has these perfect bodies, and she feels very self-conscious.
It's more of a like a special exercise to look a certain way nowadays. I'm not for everybody, but that has turned into something that is the people in India I've been to Rishikesh where yoga was taught a long time ago. I went to the original yoga school in Rishikesh, which wasn't on the main river, on the Ganges, and it's 200 years old with a massive mango tree in the middle. And I learned the original yoga that they taught there years and years ago, and it's nothing to do with the yoga today. Isn't that interesting? Like everything's turned into something else.
Total product, right? Yeah. Total product. So, and I'm noticing that's happening with meditation too. That it's like it's becoming a commodity, it's becoming a product, right? Like the right meditation commentary, the right incense stick, the right pillow, the right room, the right candle, the right whatever, the right stones.
Sage. I mean, I have all these things myself. Like I have the candle, I've got the yoga cushion right here, stuff. But I don't like I can handle doing it without any of that stuff. But you know how it is. It has definitely turned into a commodity in America.
It has turned, and so I feel the whole point of meditation is transformation. And the whole point of meditation is at the right time that transformation needs to happen. For example, I'm driving on the road, I'm driving somewhere, and someone cuts me off, and I'm really upset that this person cut me off. That is when I need meditation, not when I can sit in a nice room with a nice pillow and a nice candle. That's not when I need it.
You just have to cut them off again and drive back quickly so you can go back to your cushion.
Right. So at that point, I need deep transformation. I need transformation where that cutting off doesn't bother me, where I just give them good wishes and pure feelings. I'm not upset that they did that. That is the time I need it. And that is why we encourage people to meditate while in action, that whatever meditation practice you pick up you should be able to do it while in action, right? I just feel that's a prerequisite. I didn't know this when I was learning meditation. But for me, I'm not saying that it should be for you. For me, that's a prerequisite. When I'm really upset, that's when I need it. And if a practice is not helping me when I'm really upset, then what is it doing?
Yeah, it's not very effective if it doesn't work in a real situation.
If I have to serve it, right? Like if I have to get the right pillow and the right incense stick and the right commentary, I'm serving it. It's not serving me.
Yeah, if it doesn't work when you need it, then is it really that helpful when it comes down to it? I mean, of course, we do sit for meditation. It's not that we only do it walking around, but if we can't maintain a shift in consciousness during our day, then has it really changed us very much? That's the big question, isn't it?
Right. So, what I've noticed is sitting in meditation, that you need to sit definitely in the morning, in the evening. In addition to that, then your awareness and consciousness during the day changes. So if you're not sitting for a period of time and really meditating, then you can't really bring it into your daily life, into your actions, right? So it's not that you can just say, I'm just doing it in action. You first have to be able to sit down and do it, and then you can bring it into action.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, build it up in the morning, and then it spills over into the rest of our day. And I like what you said, transformation happens in an instant. I find this such a deep thing. We could do a whole session just on this, that, we want to change our life in some way. And when we decide to change, it happens like that, doesn't it? In a second, everything changes. And It doesn't happen gradually. It happens all of a sudden. Something happens. And we say, okay, that's it. I've had enough. And something changes in the moment. And we might have to change it again and again, but it happens all of a sudden. So we can do meditation in an instant. I remember when I was living in India for 5 months, I was in Bombay, and I was walking back from the meditation center, and I very vividly remember this. I was walking down this road, and there was like kids playing cricket, and I thought to myself, why don't I just give myself like a meditation commentary while I'm walking down the road, because I do this when I'm sitting down, So I was just walking around and I thought, all I'm doing is taking my usual meditation practice, my change of thoughts, and bringing it into my day whilst I was doing something else. And I felt this huge sense of like lightness and relief and bliss come over me. And I thought, this is actually really what it comes down to. It's just having that, having those sorts of thoughts and that awareness whilst doing other things. I mean, that's all it is really, isn't it?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And see these micro practice that I was saying, not only you pick up a meditation practice, not only you make sure you're doing it during the day, but you have a micro practice. It's not like you postpone it. You do it right now. There should be a practice. Every time you think I need to do meditation, you sit down and do a micro practice, even for a few seconds. Just become aware of yourself as light, as a soul animating this body. That is meditation, and that just takes a few seconds.
Accountability practice. Why can't we just do everything on our own? Surely, if we want to do something, we'll just get it done.
I wish it was that simple, right?
So
if you
do
want
I.
to do it,
Wouldn't
we
that
can
be,
just
that'd be
get
great.
it done.
Oh, I'm going to do this thing.
Wouldn't that be great?
Well, the thing is, we can for a short time. Like I might say to myself today, you know what, I've had enough. I'm going to the next level. I'm going to do this thing. And today is great. Tomorrow is great. And then one day something happens and I just don't want to do something. And no one else knows about it except for me. And it can just fall off. And that can be the end of it. So accountability is putting some other person, someone else. It's not just us, is it?
Another thing is, it's not just even accountability to another person. But also there has to be like monetary consequences. Like you have to have accountability for yourself and, just have monetary consequences for not doing it. That's why Weight Watchers work so well.
They have to pay if they
Every
don't.
time you do, you pay, exactly. It's not that I ever did it.
Pay
but
for
I've
the
heard
muffins.
people.
They have to pay for muffins. Is that how it works? Muffins and cakes and stuff. They've got to put money in. Is that how it works?
No, they have to pay each time they don't lose weight.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, it definitely works. I actually have a bunch of checks in the drawer right over there that if I don't do something, I have to put them in the post just to somewhere that I don't want to send them to. That's one way of doing it.
Yeah, that is one way of doing it. But to really have consequences, to be accountable. And one of the things I feel accountability partners work so well. I've had many in my time. One of the things accountability partners work so well is because you realize that saying it aloud, right? You're saying it aloud to someone else. And then you realize that if you don't do it, that you have to go back and say, oh, I didn't do it, right? Just saying it aloud, and also just the thought of telling someone, no, I didn't do it, really motivates you to do it.
It's true.
And also someone who's on the same page, right? If they're doing it, you're doing it, then it's almost like there's a race. It's not like a competitive race, but there's a race.
Yeah. Just to help each other and to make sure it happens. And we don't want to say, oh, what did you do this week? Well, I didn't do anything, because that's a bit lame. Why did we even try? So when you write it down, I mean, just in case anyone's wondering, how do you set this up? Is you get someone who's similar to you, who wants to do something similar. You write down what you're going to do, whatever practices you're going to do. And then you share either every day how you did, or you can share every day, and then every week you say, how did we go overall? Like, what did you do? Did you do the thing you said you're going to do? Did you not do it? And just the fact that somebody else, you're saying it to somebody else, the chances of you doing it just significantly increase. Because otherwise, all it takes is one bad thing to happen in our life, and everything just gets taken out. I mean, I've been working with people for years as a coach, and I've heard from many people that they have a bad day and they stop doing something, and then the next day they don't do it, and the next day they don't do it. And if they haven't got a coach or someone to help them, it can spiral out of control, and then it will be 6 months, and then before they get back on the wagon.
I know, right? It's
6
amazing
months.
how you can waste time.
One bad day and it takes 6 months to get back. So that's why accountability, even if you do have a bad day or a bad week, you're going to get back in the game. pretty quickly. So if you want to have the best year ever this year, get a coach or accountability partner or somebody who can support you in doing what you need to do. The last step, I believe, is a wisdom practice. What do you mean by a wisdom practice?
I feel that to supplement your meditation practice, people are really only focused on meditation, but there is another aspect of the soul that is very thirsty. And that aspect of the soul is the intellect or the reasoning and the wisdom aspect of the soul, right? It's very thirsty. It's very thirsty for the truth. And so when we pick up a wisdom practice, that thirst quenches. So let's say if I'm really thirsty and someone serves me a 7-course meal, it's not going to satisfy me. It's not going to satisfy me. So you need to have something else along with the meditation practice. So you could say the meditation practice is a thirst, or it's like having a meal, and then there's a wisdom practice, which is like being thirsty. So you need both. You need a meditation practice and a wisdom practice to be able to really fully integrate the soul into a transformation, into a higher level of consciousness. And this wisdom practice is so important. To pick any wisdom, right? I mean, of course, you can pick the Brahma Kumari's wisdom, which we have a wisdom practice every day. But pick the Bhagavad Gita, pick the Bible, pick something and read it, right? Pick any book, like current book that you feel is full of wisdom, read it. And just reflect on it, because that reading and reflecting on it really helps quench something in the soul that cannot be quenched just with meditation.
Yeah, we need guidance, spiritual guidance daily to orient ourselves in our life to a meta-narrative, a bigger perspective of life. Otherwise, we're stuck just with our same thoughts again and again. When we read these inspiring things, we learn things about life and perspectives about life that we wouldn't be thinking otherwise, and then we can churn on those things, and then that can change our perspective and what we do and how we relate to everything. And so it's expanding. So we want to find some sort of practice that allows you to expand your sense of awareness and what you think life is about to a bigger awareness. In Raja Yoga meditation, we get told a few things again and again and again every day, and they are things like, you're a spiritual being, you've come down here onto this planet from a world of light, and you can connect with God, the source, and receive love and power and bliss, and what is karma and what is the world, and all these bigger things of life, which are extremely useful to be reminded of again and again and again and again. And even though I personally, and Shireen also, has been studying these things for a long time, it seems fresh again and again and again. It's really, really helpful. I mean, you've been hearing some of the same things for 30 years. What do you feel about that after 30 years?
I can't live without it. It feels like food, right? It feels like food and water in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like it feels like the main meal of the day. If you miss a meal, right? If you miss your main meal of the day, how are you going to feel? That's how I would feel.
Yeah.
And so it is food for the soul. It is food for the soul, because the soul really thrives. And some kind of purification also happens in the soul because of that food. And so pick carefully, but don't think too much. Don't think, I'll wait for a year and see which ones I'm going to connect with. Just start doing something, and then you can start exploring after that. But just start doing something.
Yeah, and something that inspires you, that gives you guidance, that is actually helpful, it makes your life better. So you've got your vision of what you want for yourself. You've got your wisdom practice, learning something inspiring every day. You've got meditation practice in the morning. You've got micro meditation, accountability partner, and you also practice dying and coming back. that is a wonderful, wonderful recipe for an amazing year, isn't it? I'm very excited.
It is. I'm excited.
It's going to be a best. I'm really, it feels like such a good vibration for this year ahead, you know. And whatever doesn't serve you, it's all being taken away. Whether we get rid of it ourselves, whether life comes and rips it away from us, the things that don't work for us are getting wiped out. That's just another thing to be aware of.
Yeah, that is another topic we need to talk about, right?
We'll have to get into
that later. Not be afraid.
Yeah.
Not be afraid of whatever is leaving. Let it leave.
Things that are not aligned, we can either accept that that's truth, you know, that it's not working for us and let it go, or it's going to be taken through strange and wondrous ways. So we might as well just accept what we're dealing with and move forward. But we will get into that another time. That is a big topic. So Shireen, what's going to happen if someone applies this? If they actually do this the whole year, what can they expect to happen?
So much benefit. You'll feel different about yourself. You will feel a sense of achievement. You'll feel a sense of purpose. That in itself is a big thing, right? Feeling a sense of purpose, a sense of achievement, feeling good about yourself. That's a really big benefit. Feeling good about yourself. You feel like your life is worth something instead of just hamster on the wheel, the same thing. And so many things like that. Like, I'm not even talking about like the peace and the happiness and the joy, not even just these, right? Just like these meta things, like a sense of purpose, sense of achievement, a sense of wonder of the life, a deep self-transformation. All of these things will start happening.
You know, we think these external things will change our life, but really it's the feelings, because a lot of the time we get the things we want and we realize it doesn't make any difference. But the feelings we have during our day as we go about our life is actually what matters most, because that's living in the moment. So you will feel that your present reality, your present experience of life is blessed. And no doubt wonderful, magical things will happen externally as well, because that is just a natural consequence, a byproduct of being in a higher state of being. So that will be like the surprises that come up along the way, pleasant surprises. Yes. Well,
we have a blessing.
A blessing, yes.
We have a blessing for everyone. Okay, today's blessing is happiness. And so this is really God's blessing for you. So when you listen to a blessing, I want you to feel that God is giving it to you. And when God gives you something, there are no conditions, not that you have to give something back. So just embrace it. Embrace it as something that is you deep inside, and that is the real you, and that God's magic is making it come up. So this is happiness. Your blessing for the year 2024 is happiness. You found that the secret to joy is to fill each moment with meaning and love. This happiness, a powerful nourishment, has made the difficult seem easy and the heavy feel light. You share the joy generously through life's ups and downs. You share this joy generously through life's ups and downs.
So just absorb that into your whole body and your soul, your mind, your heart. And if you haven't already, we have a free course, Ancient Spiritual Secrets, which you're welcome to join for free. It's just a blessing for you. It's a very deep spiritual knowledge that we have had the great pleasure to receive free of charge, and it's completely changed our life. And we're of course paying it forward and wanting to make sure you get it. And you can get that in the links below. Well, Shireen, thank you so much for your wisdom.
So much, Michael.
It's going to be a magical, beautiful year.